Alright. Let me get this stuff set up here real quick. Number 137. Okay, create. All right, so yeah, first off, really sorry that I've sort of neglected the podcast this week. I'm really sorry about that. I've had a pretty ridiculous week. And yeah, pretty insane week. So I've got that going. Now let me go here and share these things out. I'll tell you what, we'll play a little music while we're getting started here. Let's see which one's a good one. Let's do this one. Yeah, it works. Alright, yeah, I'm just sharing this in Facebook. All right. so hoarse.
Baby, you can never look me in the eye. Yeah, you buckle with the weight of the world. Stop dragging my heart around. Stop dragging my heart around.
All right. So, yeah, let's see here.
Stop
Dragging my heart around. So, all right, let me get in here and get the audio started. I'm going to start recording a little audio here. All right. So, as I said a minute ago at the beginning of the YouTube video, once again, sorry that I waited till today to record this midweek episode. So this is a makeup episode. Goodness, I need to eat something. Hungry burps. Anyway, yeah, sorry, this is a makeup episode. I've been just so damn busy this week. It's been a pretty insane week for me. It's Memorial Day weekend in Myrtle Beach after Bike Week, and I just had a lot of gigs, which was really necessary because I was behind on a few things that I needed to catch up on, and I'm not completely caught up on everything I need to be yet, but I'm closer than I was, and that's good news. That's very good news. So, yeah, I had a lot of gigs this week. And I got a pretty slim week coming up, but then we got good weeks after that. So that's really, really good. But it's nice to get I'm already back into the swing of things now, so I'm worried that just this momentum that I've built over the last week, I'll lose it by not having anything Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But I do got a gig today or tomorrow for Memorial Day. But yeah, I was gonna. My folks were in town. My sister and my brother-in-law and my other sister, my other brother-in-law, my stepmom. They were all in town. My other sister. They were all in town this weekend, and it's just Memorial Day weekend. It's a really tough weekend to get around in Myrtle Beach because they do this thing called the traffic loop here, and it just kind of screws up traffic a little bit, but they didn't even need to implement it this year. So apparently it was slower than it has been, which is really good because this weekend has famously been a rough weekend for a lot of folks involved. Like, and I'm not talking about the locals as much as I really am the people who come for Memorial Day weekend. It just isn't really. Doesn't seem like it's on the city's on their side, you know. But I guess behind the scenes you have to do what you have to do to protect the people. So anyway, it's famously a rough weekend to get around in Myrtle Beach. So they weren't able to make it out to the gig, which I totally understand. Like it was tough for us to get there too. But they were gonna. I texted them last night after I got dropped off or whatever. Got back to my car. I'm really bad about not looking at my phone at all, like during a gig, unless I have to play music, or I rarely ever get my phone out at a gig unless I get super bored. But anyway, I didn't look at my phone yesterday, and they had messaged me about the next morning, and I was trying to find out what time they checked out today, but I didn't hear back from them until I was passed out this morning. I didn't get up till like 1 o'clock. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Sorry I've been rambling for 4 minutes for you. Well, technically 8 minutes now. But anyway, I noticed something pretty... Actually, I didn't notice it. Somebody next to me noticed it. One of my very good friends, Miss Christian Mills, noticed this. We were at the Blue Crab Festival the other week, playing with cornbread, and we had a few friends come and hang out with us, and we were standing outside talking to them, and we were standing next to this little recycling trash can. And it's literally just a trash can with a recycling symbol on top of it for only bottles and cans, only recyclables. So I'm thinking, like, I'm a big recycler. I got to go to the dump later. I got some stuff to recycle here in a little bit. That's why I'm doing this episode a little earlier before I had the chance to become more stoned than I am already. Forgive me for that already too, but it's my only day off in the last few days, so I'm taking full advantage of it. And I smoked a little half of a hog leg a while ago. But anyway, not what we're here to talk about. Once again, we were standing outside talking, and as we were standing outside talking, this guy came by with one of those push trash cans, one of those big barrel trash cans with wheels and whatever. He came by with one of those and was emptying the trash cans. But instead of just going to the trash cans, he would get the trash cans and he would get the recycling. So he was putting the recycling stuff in with the other garbage. And I started wondering, how many times does that just happen? How many times does that happen? How many times is it that we go and from what I can gather, one of my buddies who's a cameraman was a cameraman for the local news stations for a really long time, confirmed for me that Myrtle Beach is really good about... He's done video work from the Myrtle Beach recycling facility, and he said they're really good about separating everything and doing a good job about recycling. And then I was also talking to who was it? Maybe it was Mr. Bill at Trivia. Doesn't matter. But he was telling me that America is really good about making sure that everything gets separated. America is pretty good about disposing of waste properly and not letting everything build up too much like other countries do. But I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I trust everything that he says, so I assume it would be accurate. But anyway, it was a little disheartening. It was a little disheartening to see that all the recyclable stuff was getting put in with the regular garbage. And that sort of led me to a thought process. And I've got a dark thought process. And I ask you to forgive me for that dark thought process. But I think that this is an analogy for people trying everything that they can in their life to do the right thing. And then they pass it off to whoever's duty it is to continue to do this right thing. And then it's totally squashed. And does that mean that the right thing that this other person was doing is now void? For instance, if I take all of my cardboard and all of my aluminum and plastics, and I take all of that stuff to the dump today, and then after it gets taken to the dump, after I leave it there, if they take it and they dump everything together, after I've spent time separating everything or keeping everything separate, and they mix everything together and just wherever it goes next, which I know is not the case, obviously, because my buddy has confirmed that it's not here. But it probably is the case in a lot of other places. And I was watching this video the other day and it's I would show it to you right now, but it's so disturbing I would rather not. It was this dump truck backed up to the Amazon River, just unloading garbage into the Amazon River, and it's just floating on downstream. And I realized that that's not the only place in the world where that happens. Like, I know that there are these sinkholes and things like that where people go and just like dump shit in a sinkhole. But those sinkholes have to come out somewhere, right? Or do they? I'm not really too savvy on sinkholes. Maybe one of you guys are and you can inform me. But I don't know. What is interesting, though, is that people can do everything they want to do. People can do everything that they can within their power to do the right thing. But if the person above them does not honor their whatever the right thing is, like if the person above them who is in charge, like I'm using this analogy of the recycling thing because it's the freshest thing in my memory. But if these people would honor what I want to do, like I want to recycle these things, and I'll notice as soon as I notice that, anytime I saw anybody with plastics or anything like that to go in there, I told them about that, and I was like, man, you know, they're putting it all in the same thing. And I really wanted to bring home all the stuff. As a matter of fact, I usually do that. Like if I see something like that's going to get thrown away, like if I go to a restaurant or whatever that gives me a little plastic fork, I'll bring that plastic fork home and put it with my recycling. And I always do that. And it really broke my heart to realize that this dude was just running around grabbing trash bags out of every trash can and then the recycling and just throwing it in together. Now, maybe I'm being too hard on this guy. Maybe he's just maybe he's just being efficient, and when he gets to where he's going to empty the big trash can he's rolling around, maybe he'll put the other stuff in with, you know, maybe he'll separate it there. But I did notice that after, what up, Scotty? What up, Timmy Pierce? How you doing? Let me get you a wrench, Timmy. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Maybe he will do the right thing. Zionic Satanist corrupt monsters run this planet, Scotty says. Timmy Pierce, preach on, brother. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, it's so funny. Like, you can do everything you want to do, everything you can to be a good person and to do the right thing. But if the person above you doesn't do the right thing, then doesn't that screw up everything you do? Okay. Say I know a lot of you guys are members of the actual workforce. Yes, we do, 100%. We do need to recycle all our own waste. I want to get to the point. I'm in an apartment, so it's really you know, kind of impractical for me to try to go and like compost and things like that. I mean, I could just keep it for other people, obviously, which would be a smarter thing to do. I'm aware, but I'm just not too savvy on that yet. I'm baby steps into this, like trying to leave a better world for, you know, the people that'll come after me. But yeah, like, here's another thing. Like, you guys are members of the regular workforce, and so say that you are working on like a project for work. You're doing something at work that's going to make everything around you a lot more efficient, and you figured out a way to make life easier for those that work around you. And you go and you take this idea to the person who's above you, the person who outranks you. You're right, Scotty. So who else will let someone dump garbage on their planet's core? That's true. But anyway, yeah, if you take this project to the person who is above you, who outranks you, and this person, instead of doing what you did, they do something completely different that makes everything more difficult for everybody else, or leaves everything the same as it was, then the progress that you've made is undone then. So I guess what I'm saying is that we have to rely on, and those who know me closely know that I am not one to really rely on other people for things. I want to do my own thing. Like, I'm very much my own person. And by the way, I'm wearing what I wore yesterday too, by the way. If anybody saw the picture on Instagram, same clothes. I don't give a shit. But yes, I'm very like independent. I don't like people's help with a lot of things. I'm just I want to be responsible for everything that I'm supposed to be responsible for, you know. I want to be that. And I don't want to have to trust in anybody else to carry out this thing that I want to carry out, you know. Yeah. I want to be the one responsible for that so that I don't have to worry about where it goes next. And it really bothers me that we have to just put our trust in these people to do the right thing. But you know what? Let me look here. Yeah, well, that's all I got, Scotty. All I got is hair, man. And grow it while you got it, dude. That's what I always say. Grow it while you got it. Let's see. Let me get out of here and pop this out. Let's go to YouTube here. Dumping into Amazon. All right, here we go. Let me get in here and what's up, Honey Badger? Good to see you. Good to have all y'all here. Appreciate you hanging out. Let me get this. See where I've got the. See where I've got this window capture thing. I'm going to show you this. Right on, Timmy Pierce. Appreciate you hitting that subscribe button, homie. Here we go. Okay. Check this out. Watch this. Watch this video. Look at this. Look how disturbing this is. This is heartbreaking, but you have to see it just because I've seen it and I need to share it. Look at all that plastic. Look at all those buzzers, all those birds. Look at this. And this is look at the banks here. Look at the banks here of this crap. Look, there's a spot to back up there. Like this is a normal thing. This is how they do it there. Look at that. Can you believe this? By the way, audio folks, go to the YouTube page. Kelsey Hudgens on YouTube. You can see how to spell it there. Oh man, you just see all the stuff going down. How do I stop this? Yeah, isn't that just terrifying? Isn't that awful? All this stuff, the same spot, going right down into the Amazon River. And look at it, the river's just carrying it all downstream. Isn't that crazy? Wild, huh? Oh, I was doing the wrong one. This stays that way. This little guy, bring that up here, and then there. Right on, Timmy. 2,500 tons of household waste to the Philippines. Is that right? Is that real? Wow. Well, I appreciate you following on iTunes, Timmy. Yeah, I usually right on, Honey Badger. We got a pretty good scene here in Myrtle Beach. Timmy Pierce here is actually one of the Myrtle Beach musicians. We play for the same little agency. Basically, we go through the same agency. But yeah, Timmy, I usually do things a little differently on the YouTube front, just to give everybody a little behind the scenes of like recording and everything, and The electric waste company slipped the waste in the load. Oh, wow. That is crazy. But yeah, the audio listeners, I believe, get a little bit better production. I think just because of the intro and the intro and outro for one, and I'm trying to implement that into the YouTube as well. Like eventually, I'll remember when I get done to throw a little music on or something like that, and I'll be. That's good, Honey Badger. We try to be. But yeah, I get so disheartened by you, and those of you who listened in the beginning, you knew that one of the main things I said was recycle your plastics. And I was drinking plastic bottles. I was drinking plastic water bottles back then, and I've since stopped buying the plastic water bottles because the first step in recycling is reduce your use, like reduce the use of single-use plastics. And plastic bottles are definitely single-use plastics. Anything that I buy that has anything plastic that can be used again, I will use it again. And until we get to the point to where everybody is doing that, I don't know that things are going to really change. But then again, us here in America, is that really we can burn it in open fields? I think that burning it is probably the best thing to do. But what do I know? But anyway, as far as the plastics go and stuff like that, like, man, those plastics are literally killing the ocean. I see an article every few days on Facebook of a beached whale found with tons of plastic in its gut. And that's just, yeah, absolutely. You don't want to drink out of plastics for health reasons, Honey Badger. You probably don't want to. And for one, you definitely don't want to put these plastic things like that come in, like these microwavable meals and stuff that come in little plastic trays. You definitely don't want to mix that stuff with a microwave, right? You don't want to put plastics in a microwave to get all of those weird toxins into your system. But still, just the fact that all of this stuff is being dumped into the Amazon River right now, overseas, or not overseas, but below us, is populating the ocean, and just so much negative. Like, there's so much life in the ocean that we're literally just shitting on right now, because obviously we don't really care. And I'm not saying we as Americans, because from what I understand, America is a little better about actually recycling and being heads up about those things than a lot of other places. And I'm not speaking for everywhere, obviously, but I also have a lot of friends where I'll just see them like just throw something into, like, throw a plastic or a glass in the trash, and I'm like, sort of irks me a little bit. I don't really bring it up because I don't want to be one of those people to them, but I will bring up like, if I notice somebody doing that, I'll usually bring up the fact. And if it's somebody I know well, I'm like, motherfucker, recycle. Come on, dude. It ain't that hard. Just get one of those containers from Walmart and sit it to the side. Go take a trip to the dump every now and again, or tell me, I'll take it. I told my landlord the other day, I texted her, I was like, I'm about to make a run to the dump. If you got any cardboard, plastics, or glass, or aluminum to take, I'll take it. But seriously, it's not that hard, and I feel so bad for these poor creatures in the ocean that are just trying to eat, and then all of a sudden they end up And I'm sure they don't realize what it is that's causing it, but they end up with a gut full of plastic, and that's no way to live, is it? We need to do better, though, is all I'm saying is... Oh, yeah, but the point I was making is I see friends that'll just throw things away, and they're like, oh, man, I would recycle if it were just a little easier. And, like, that's I get it. It takes gas to go to the dump. I'm in a situation that not a lot of people are in. I don't have kids. I don't have family that like takes my time away from myself. Like, I'm the only one that takes up my time other than my job, playing music and the podcast, which is still, both of those things are mine. Both of those things are something that I do personally, and I don't have to take into account other people into my plan, so it's easy for me to just say, okay, I want to go to the dump on Wednesday and Sunday, and it's easy for me to do that. But oh yeah, there's so many cancer causing agents in plastic, Honey Badger. You're 100% right. There's a lot of that stuff causes cancer. But like I said, I understand that I'm in a different situation than most people, and I do have the time to go and take these things to the dump. But it can't be that hard for everybody else. And most communities, and that would be another thing, that would actually be much better, is if like the waste authority, like the solid waste authorities here. Timmy says his pet peeve is musicians that don't clean up the stage. Dude, you can ask Adam or Smitty or whoever else has played music with me. After the gig, I will always do a sweep, and if there's cups or anything on stage that Adam or Smitty have left behind, I'll usually take them to the bar, and I'll usually clean up the stage after the band, because I don't want to walk up and... Now, the occasional guitar string that I might not be able to find if I pop one may get left behind, but any kind of like trash or anything like that gets left on stage, I'm always cleaning up the stage afterwards. It's simple. It takes 2 minutes? It takes not even 2 minutes or 20 seconds to do a sweep of the stage and get everything together that way the bartender doesn't have to go do that. And honestly, the bartenders usually don't mess around with the stage, because I've been on stages before and there'll be glasses of stuff sitting there with, like, obviously somebody left a drink last night, and I've noticed that a bunch. Some places are better than others, but if there's like a place where it can be hidden, or like a... Yeah, but those are music. Those are a stray pick or a stray guitar string will happen. But yeah, dude, just the things that, like, or even my big deal is, like, if you go, and I carry my jug everywhere. I've got the jug for everything now, and I just think that's easier. That works better for everybody involved. It's easier for the bartender. I don't have to worry about bothering the bartender when they're busy, especially in the summer months. Bartenders get busy, and we're working together as a musician and a bartender. We're working together, so I don't want to make their job any more difficult than it already is. So I'll have my jug of water, and I'll not bother them. But if it's somebody like if anybody gets a drink, like a big red cup of water, or those glasses, those big plastic cups that everybody steals from restaurants, that everybody has at home, those Pepsi or Coca-Cola glasses that are either red or blue. Dude, any of those that are sitting on stage, I always make sure to group them up and carry them to the bartender. And the bartenders, I was like, here, found this on the stage, wanted to save you a little effort, and they're always very appreciative of that. But dude, that bothers me more than anything else, just to walk on stage and see like 4 or 5 of those cups sitting on a stage in like a corner or something like that, where nobody could really see it but somebody who would be on stage. And I'm like, dude, it's not that hard to just clean up after yourself there. I wish I could do that at home more. I wish I could do that at home. Like, just I look around and it's just like I'm slowly becoming a hoarder, I guess. I'm a hoarder of phone books to rip apart. Most of my stuff here is just like music equipment. Like, half of the time it's in my trunk or on stage with me. But I'm one of those people that every single time, Timmy, do you do this when you get home? Do you leave your stuff in your vehicle, or do you bring everything in? I always bring everything inside, and it sits right inside the door. So if anybody were to break in here, it'd be an easy getaway for them. But still, I bring it inside. I used to not. I used to just leave it in my car because, I'm going to need it tomorrow anyway. But then my dad got me this Bose system for Christmas, or my family got me this Bose system for Christmas a couple years ago. And ever since then, I've always brought it inside. As a matter of fact, the only night that this system has ever spent outside was at a gig we played in Boone. That's the only time it's ever stayed outside overnight. But I always bring the equipment in at night. Always. Back in the day, I would leave everything in my car, guitar and everything. I would just leave my guitar in the back seat and take it out, and it would just be steaming hot. I'm sorry. Sorry, sweetheart. I didn't know better. I didn't know better then. I know better now. Only your guitar and backpack. I hear you. Well, and that's probably like all you really need to bring in. I don't know why I bring everything in and out every night. I guess I give inanimate objects, and you guys have probably, I know we've had this conversation before, Timmy. I give inanimate objects personalities. Like, I give inanimate objects a voice and a personality, and I just feel so bad leaving it outside, man. Like, I tried one time because I knew I had a super early gig the next day, and I tried to leave it outside, but I was like sitting here, and I literally just had this thought of the equipment in my trunk being like, did he forget about us? did he forget about us? Are we gonna have to stay out here tonight? And I was just like, oh man, guitars can warp, Honey Badger. And thankfully, my guitar, it was in a really, really good case that's form fitting, that holds it in place in times when it would, maybe try to warp. But this is never spent another night outside that I can remember. Yeah, man. And Timmy, hats off to you, buddy, because not only Timmy here, guys, is one of the biggest. Oh yeah, I remember old Topanga. I remember you naming it Topanga, a chair named Tabitha. I hear you. Timmy Pierce is one of the hardest working musicians in our area, and one of the few that does almost exclusively solo gigs. And he also has a family, a beautiful family, and a good job, and does all of these things. Timmy, I could not do what you do, friend. I could not do it, man. My hat's off to you for balancing all that stuff in your life, man. I am not good at I say I'm not good at that. I don't know that I would be. I'd try. This is a Taylor Honey Badger. And yeah, I've come in tired as hell before too, but I've realized I've got a system now to where as soon as I get home, I pop the trunk. First thing I do, it's like out of habit now. Even when I pull into the yard, I'll back into my spot and hit the trunk button 9 times out of 10 every time I pull into the yard, whether there's something in the trunk or not, just because out of habit. And I'll come in and I'll get out, and it takes a couple minutes of back and forth between my door and the car, which is very short space. I actually love solos, Honey Badger. Those are my favorite, because and Timmy can attest to this, man. some of those rooms where we get solos and such. Absolutely, man. It does last. It'll last forever. It'll last you if you take care of it and things. But my electric is a Strat too, Honey Badger. But I love solos. Those some of those solo rooms that we get, and Timmy can attest to this, man, are like nice little honey holes, Honey Badger. They're nice little tip gigs, man. And there's a few gigs where you're gonna walk away with a certain number of tips, and those are mostly exclusive solo rooms. And man, that's nice. That's really, really nice. I enjoy playing with other people too. That's right. You can't have the best looking if you keep up with it. I should probably keep up with my stuff better. I should clean my stuff better, make it look a little bit. But still, it does. I think that's good karma. I think that instills good karma to like. Just be good to your equipment. And I say it all the time, like when people are talking about Jeff and Jess from Prettier Than Matt put a post on Facebook a while back about having to buy stands over and over, and I was like, man, every single time, break the stand down all the way. Like, break the stand down all the way every time. And if you break it down all the way and tighten everything on it that can be tightened all the way up, not too much to try to strip it out, but tighten it up to where it doesn't move and maneuver around, that stuff will last you forever. I've had the same mic stand for almost a decade. I've had the same mic stand for almost 10 years. And think about how long that is. Most other artists, most other bands, I don't know. Timmy takes care of his stuff though, 100%. But I don't know how often you have to buy mic stands because things get stripped out or just whatever, something doesn't work like it used to. But 10 years is a long time to keep something in. The only thing I've replaced on my mic stand is the arm. One time I've replaced the arm once, which with the boom arm, which musicians will know what that means. Most mic stands come straight, and you have to buy an extra attachment, like this one right here. The way that this bar right here comes on the straight. That's good though, Timmy. That's really good. Probably two stands because you take care of things. It means a lot to take care of stuff. Like, and I say all the time, don't be a bull in a china shop. Like, be careful. Be careful with your equipment. Be careful with your things. Don't like throw things around. Like when you get to the truck, don't throw that. That's good, Honey Badger. Honey Badger's second mic stand in 25 years. That's really good. Nah, we played a wedding. We played a wedding in like year 1 of the band. Year 1 or 2 of the band, we played a wedding. And our wedding gifts were like some super nice Hercules mic stands and like $100 a person and a super nice mic stand. And you know what? Here's one of those Hercules mic stands, and the other Hercules mic stand is over there. That I use every gig. These have been my mic stands since day one. Me and Adam used to use them, and then this one right here. I will say this one right here. I don't know. This one must have been Adam's. But oh no, we actually used to use these to. We had these little tiny wedge monitors that we would screw on, and they were really heavy. So we used this one to put one of those monitors on. So Hercules is the way to go, Honey Badger. But yeah, and they got the handle you squeeze to move up and down. Hey-o! You get that, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, where we at? We got a oh man, I should have had this open up already. You squeeze the knob and go up and down.
This is just bad reception, honey.
I'm gonna spank my hairy ass.
What's that?
But seriously though, it's like these stands are great, and I've used this one for the recording at home for as long as I've had it, and then when I started doing the podcast, it became my regular podcast stand. So I didn't even think of that. But this stand and the stand that I use every day for the gig, we've had for almost a decade. Honey Badger, if you get a Taylor, all Taylors are good. Oh yeah, 100%, Timmy. And Timmy did the solo thing for the cruise ships for a while too. Like and that, man, I'll tell you what, dude, your crowd work is bar none. I sort of did the same thing, Timmy. I played a lot. I played with a lot of bands when I was in high school and like early on in my life when I first started, well, middle school and high school, and I just realized that I was like, you don't really have to, because I'm independent in a way. I don't really rely on other people exactly. I would rather not rely on other people, and anybody who knows me well knows that I'm that way. I'm very independent. And yeah, Honey Badger, I was saying, if you get a Taylor, try to get as old of a Taylor as you can. Just the old ones. The new ones are great, don't get me wrong. Taylor is a great guitar no matter what. But those old Taylors, this is a 2003, those old Taylors were the ones. And the expression system that they use, their pickup system, I've always had problems with it. I put an aftermarket LR bag system in here, and the LR bag system makes this thing sound really good. The only problem is I don't have a lot of my low E in my in the mix. I don't get a lot of the low E. I don't know if it just doesn't pick up that frequency well or what, but there's definitely an issue there. But anyway, yeah, just being an independent person and not wanting to rely on other people, Timmy, is what makes me enjoy the solos so much. Is just because if I think of a song, and you're probably the same way, even if there's a song that you've heard a bunch that you've never tried to play and somebody asks for it, you can say, you know what, I'll give it a shot, and we'll see how it goes. And do that. And that's a little bit more difficult to do with a band. Now, granted, me and Smitty and Adam have been playing together for long enough to pull it. And hell, me and Adam and Daryl, we played a song that I've even never tried last night, and we pulled it off. And once you've played with people enough, you can sort of pick up on your vibe. I watched this Pink Floyd documentary I've seen a bunch last night called Which One Is Pink? It's on YouTube, and they were talking about, like, after you play with somebody long enough, you sort of get to anticipate the next thing they're going to do. And Nick Mason, the drummer of Pink Floyd, said you sort of anticipate their next mistake. And what's funny is anticipating the next mistake sort of adds something else to the band, to where instead of it being a mistake, if everybody makes it together, then it's planned, like if everybody makes the same mistake together, then it's planned. It's just and it becomes part of the sound. Martin, a 30-year-old Martin is good. The thing that I've said about Martins is that Martins are great once they get age on them. So that Martin that you've got is outstanding, I'm sure. Now, do you do all that yourself, Honey Badger, or you get a luthier to do it? I'm so bad with guitar stuff. I'm like Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder. Like, I know how to play it, but I don't know how to work on it. I don't know how to fix it or anything. I have to take it to somebody. But yeah, I get 100% what you mean. Just the professionalism, you're having to wait on, or just you have to add somebody else's brain into the equation. And that's a thing that an analogy that I've used a lot is like, I'd rather not add anyone else's brain to the equation. Look at this one. Look at this one, Honey Badger. Talking about beating half to death. Look at the back. This guitar has been there, done that. This is all from like button shirts. One year I wore all button shirts. I agree, Timmy. I think they're natural sound, and I feel the same way about my guitar. I think my guitar sounds better mic'd than the built-in electronics because I just don't get any low E when I plug in. Like my low E is just basically non-existent. Like is what it sounds like when I do that. That's what it sounds like when I play it plugged in. Like it just, like I can't even play it as quietly as it does whenever it's plugged in. But it really bothers me, and it's just a little ribbon under the saddle here, and I don't know. I could get somebody to do it. I'm using Diodario's, Timmy. The only reason I say, and somebody this weekend was telling me you should try the Elixirs, but I had such a big problem with the Elixir G string popping so much that I started flipping. I flipped over to the Diodarios because they sound as good for half as long, and they're gonna pop anyway. Like my Elixir's gonna pop anyway. For me anyway, but I play pretty hard, so like, and I use all them minor chords. I'll never forget that. Timmy was sitting in the crowd one time when I was playing a gig. He was sitting at the bar, and when we started doing another song, he was like, "Man, you love some minor chords." And I do. I really do love a minor chord. They're awesome. But yeah, Timmy, you're right about having to worry about other people, like having to rely on somebody else to make your music with. It's really cool to be able to walk on stage by yourself and handle that room, because not a lot of people can do that. Like people can do all they want with another band because or with another person on stage with them, because yeah, you're right. They do sound a little too bright, and you'll get the high feedback, the hiss feedback from them a little bit. I used to get that a lot. What are you using now? Are you using I use the Diodario Blues. I think these are 12s. I was using 13s, but I get a little more lead play out of the 12s. But oh yeah, the EXPs I think are much better than the Elixirs. They definitely last a lot longer. I don't know what the G string problem is with Elixir, but if Elixir could figure out that G string issue, because I think Elixir should come with an extra 26 in every pack, an extra G string in every pack, because you're gonna need it. And they always popped right at the saddle, didn't they? They always popped right at the saddle. I guarantee you that's where they pop for you, because that's where they pop for everybody. But yeah, no, like back to what I was saying. And the Martins do sound good on a Martin, and they're very strong strings. I've noticed that Martins they don't break as much, but they just sound a little more dead quicker to me. But I gig a lot, and as does Timmy. But yeah, just not having to worry about something going wrong. Like if you're on stage and something goes wrong and you're the only one up there, then you're the only one to blame. But like I was saying, if you have somebody on stage with you you can be with that person and you can carry on a conversation with them because you already know each other. You're playing music together. You fucking know each other. So you can just have a conversation back and forth and the crowd can be part of that. But when you take away that extra person that you would have on stage with you and you're out there by yourself, then the crowd has to become that extra person. And one of my pet peeves when I see somebody play that's by themselves is somebody who doesn't interact with the crowd. Somebody who doesn't, like, who just plays their songs and moves on to the next one. I feel like if I'm in the crowd, I want somebody to talk to me. You know, I want the crowd, I want the artist to make the crowd feel like we are also part of the show. And I say that not me in particular. I don't want to feel like I'm part of the show when I'm in the room listening to somebody, but I want them to be aware that if the crowd feels like they're also part of the show, because they are, and it wouldn't be a show without a crowd. And I think that it does better for a musician to feel that, to make a crowd feel that way, to like make a crowd feel like, oh, okay, so yeah, I'm part of this thing. And then they're more apt to, whenever you say, hey, my name's Kelsey Hudgens, I'm gonna do some jamming for you today. Anything you want to hear, feel free to holler it out. There's a 10% chance I'll know it. I'll do 10% of what I don't know, 100% of what I do know, within reason. Or if it's a band gig or whatever, and it's something that like we're not too comfortable with maybe doing requests right now. When I was first doing the American Sound with Daryl and Chip, we had a certain set list of, not set list, but we had a certain like amount of songs that we could do and we could pull off properly. And 100%, Timmy, I'm the same way, man. But you always give it a shot first, right? You always try to talk to the crowd. You always try to interact with them. If they don't want anything to do with you, then you're like, okay, well, fuck you, I'll just play my songs. And I'm the same way. I'm sure you are as well, because you're very good with crowd work. But yeah, there was times in American Sound we weren't used to playing with each other as much. And when people would ask for a song, it would be more times than not, we'd be like, yeah, we probably shouldn't try that. But it's funny and oh yeah. Well, for me, if it's weird, I just keep playing and I'll just play whatever I want to play and then take my break in the end. I'm one of those guys. I take my break in the end. But no, like if you're, like I said, if you're in a situation to where you're not as comfortable with trying to shoot from the hip with a band like we can do with Cornbread, because we've been doing it for a decade now, that it's like if somebody asks for a song and we're like, yeah, we haven't really tried it before, but we know each other's style well enough to try to pull it off, so we'll give it a shot. But yeah, if it's like that, though, it's like a gig where it was in the American Sound in the beginning, I'd be like, anything you want to hear, feel free to keep it to yourself. We're going to play what we want to play today. And usually that gets a good laugh out of the crowd. And then still, once people hear our style, hear what we're capable of and get comfortable with our wheelhouse. Yeah, 100%. Now, you're the only other name that comes up when we do that. We don't take breaks. I don't like to take breaks at all. The only time and even when I'm doing duos every now and again, I'll tell Smitty, man, if you need to go smoke, or he's not smoking cigarettes anymore. He's like got the little vape thing. I was like, if you need to get up and stretch your legs for a minute, go do that. I'll play a couple, and you can come back whenever you get ready. I lose momentum. You're probably the same way, Timmy. I lose momentum whenever you get off stage. I lose momentum bad. I'll get off stage and I'll come back and everything will be like lethargic and I'll be doing a bunch of slow songs, and like I realize the crowd's not as into it, and but I've realized that if I stay with it, and just keep playing songs, keep taking requests, and once once it gets rolling, once they hear our wheelhouse, they'll start asking for songs within our wheelhouse, and then it's like 9 times out of 10 we're gonna know it. So we'll do that tune, and then the next thing you know, you're a dozen requests later, and you've hit just about all of them. And it really is hard going back after a break. I've noticed that a lot. I've played with people who like want to take a break every 45 minutes, and I'm like, dude, I don't know how you do that, man. Like, I could not deal with that much. I could not deal with that much time away from the stage, man. Like, I just. I've had that happen before too, Honey Badger. I've had them to where I'll get to a point where they're just like not responding at all, and I feel like worthless. And then I'll be like, okay, so I'm just gonna play what I want to play, and then without trying to, because I'll say this, I will always give the crowd the first chance. By that, I mean that I will always give the crowd a few songs that I think they might like, just to see which one of those songs they respond to best. That will sort of cement what the rest of my gig is going to go like, what kind of set list I'm going to have for the rest of the gig. So once I figure out what the crowd wants, I'll go down that road. But if I try my 3 or 4 different styles of music that I play and I don't get a response from any of them, then I'll be like, okay, well, I'm just going to do what I want to do, and you practice songs that I want to learn, or because obviously I don't care. I'm going to just play what I want. And I've noticed that sometimes when I do that, I get a better response out of the crowd, just because I'm playing what I'm comfortable with playing, and I'm actually doing early 2000s emo. And one of the greatest examples of that is Timmy, I don't know if you play brass tap. I played brass tap one time, and I've heard a lot of people talk about the room at brass tap being like, I just feel like I'm wallpaper there. I feel like that the crowd doesn't really give a shit whether I'm there or not. And one day I was playing at brass tap, and I just felt like, man, I'm just not getting a response. I'm not getting a response out of the crowd at all. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna play what I want to play. So I started doing a lot of early 2000s emo music, and the same thing happened at this gig I did at a place called The Basement that was open for a while. And I just started doing a lot of early 2000s emo, and like a good bit of Avett Brothers and stuff like that. And dude, I started killing it in that room. Like the bartenders and a few of the regulars, like I've got a built-in crowd now. Every time I play at brass tap, I like half of the people in the room are there for me at a certain point, because that was one of the gigs that I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do what I want here. And I ended up coming out really, really, really nicely at that room. Like I ended up doing really well in that room. So I've noticed that sometimes when you just say fuck it and play what you want, they'll dig that. And that's the same way it is here, Honey Badger. Sports bars in Florida are brutal, he says. What up, Liz? Liz, you ain't at the race today in Charlotte? But yeah, they do. They love the TV here as well. I know. I wanted to go ahead and get. I smoked half a joint earlier, and I was like, I should probably go ahead and get this out of the way before I go further down the road. And I'm not sure. I haven't gotten a response yet, or have I? I have my phone turned down. Yep, sounds good to me. So, yeah, I'm going to have Seth come by. Seth's going to come by and do a Game of Thrones episode after this. He gets off work at 4, so I'm going to end this stream here in a second. we'll wrap everything up that we've been talking about. And I started talking about things that I've noticed over the last few days. Oh, another pet peeve, Timmy Pierce, you can probably attest to, is people who request songs in the middle of a song. I hate somebody that requests a song in the middle of a song. And if somebody requests a song in the middle of a song, I usually don't do it. I will usually just not do it until they come back up and ask for it again in between songs. And you know what song usually gets requested in the middle of the song more than any other song is Tennessee Whiskey. That's fine, Liz. That's fine, Liz. You're all good. I'll be going live literally in another hour or so with Seth. So, and I actually am going to try to get Patrick involved in this one as well, because I think Seth wanted both of those guys, both of them to be here for that. So I'm going to need to resituate everything, and I think I need to charge the Mevo as well. So let me get off of here and go ahead and do that. They are the worst, Timmy. That is so much the worst. But anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me right here for a little bit. I'm sorry to end this sort of abruptly, but I will be going live again here in just a minute. That's for the YouTubers, and for audio folks, you're gonna have 2 episodes coming to you. Obviously, you know that because see, I tell you things that you're gonna learn anyway. That's just pointless, and then that just makes me like that guy, right? Timmy, thanks for hanging out, buddy. It was a good chat. You too, Honey Badger. It was a good talk. And Liz, see you later, Tater. Enjoy your sounds of the racetrack today up in great sunny old Charlotte. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here real quick and do this intro real fast. So YouTubers, hang tight for just a second. And audio folks, be a good person. In a world full of shitty people, don't be one of those people. Be a good person. And go back to the beginning and listen to the intro for all of the social media handles that I would like for you to follow. And please stop by mistuffpodcast.com for links to all of those things. And please go to Skrewball, Skrew, Skrewball Whiskey, Skrewball Peanut Butter Whiskey, our sole sponsor here at MI Stuff Podcast. Skrewball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Tomorrow's stories begin right here. Go check them out on SkrewballWhiskey.com and get your peanut butter whiskey, Skrew, live from the Skrewball Whiskey Studios. I think that's all I got for you. Go back and listen to the intro if you haven't, if you skipped that part. I love you. I mean it. Peace, bitches. YouTubers, hang tight. Let's do this intro thing. Right on, Honey Badger. I appreciate that. Anytime you want to come back and talk music, that's all I do. That's my only job. So I'm very happy to talk music with you. So let's do this intro thing. Hey guys, how you living? You doing well? Good. Glad to hear that. Once again, I'll apologize that I didn't release this episode sooner. It's been a very hectic week. It's Memorial Day weekend right now in Myrtle Beach, and after Bike Week and then Memorial Weekend, it's just very, very busy gig-wise, and I haven't had the energy to do anything. So this is my only day off, and I'm utilizing my energy to do this podcast for you today. So there's that. Anyway, please. Oh yeah, shit. Sorry, I didn't even give you a content warning. So content warning is I talked about a few things that I've noticed lately, and just most of these things are to do with recycling and disposing of recyclables and things like that. So that's that. So that's basically what your content is about in the beginning, and then we start talking about gigs and playing music and just things that happen and guitars and all sorts of things involving music and performance and doing gigs and all sorts of things. I was having a nice little conversation with my buddy Timmy Pierce and a couple of the YouTubers that I call out by name on the podcast. So there's that. Anyway, please go to the Facebook page, the Instagram page, the Twitter page at MI Stuff Podcast. We'll get you to all of those pages if you just search on all of them, all of the platforms at MI Stuff Podcast, and the number 1 is added to the end of the Twitter handle. So Please go to all of this things. And if you have trouble finding them, then you can simply go to mistuffpodcast.com and you'll be able to find there all of the links to all of the pages. And that's YouTube, Instagram, everything. Please go to YouTube, Kelsey Hudgens, KELSEYHUDGINS, and click subscribe. We're trying to get to 300. I don't know how far we gotten. I know that we got Timmy Pierce subscribed a minute ago. Let's see how many we've got now. See how many subscriptions we are. We are 297 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen, so we need 3 more to get to 300. So it could be you. It could be you. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube page, please do that for me. Please do that for me. I really would appreciate that. And if you guys are enjoying the content and you want to help out financially at all, there's a tip jar in the description, and there's a GoFundMe link as well. You guys can anything is appreciated. Nothing is necessary. Nothing is necessary. Anything is appreciated. Just know that. Yes. Also, Skrewball Whiskey, our one and only sponsor, ladies and gentlemen. SKREW ballwhiskey.com and get your peanut butter whiskey fix. Skrewball Whiskey. Tomorrow's stories begin right here. Go to skrewballwhiskey.com, get your peanut butter whiskey, and I am told it is delicious. I've still yet to taste it, but it smells so nice. It smells just like peanut butter and whiskey, and it's such a good combination of things. I mean, whiskey's delicious, peanut butter is delicious. Might not have had a sip of it in over 3 years, but I remember how delicious it was. Trust me, it was my deal. I do love me some whiskey. So, yeah, there's that. Go to skrewballwhiskey.com, SKREW ballwhiskey.com, and get your Skrewball Whiskey there. So, there's that. All right, without further ado, episode number 137 of MI Stuff Podcast, and episode number 138 is coming at you here in just a little bit. Enjoy, motherfuckers. All right, YouTubers, thanks for hanging out. Honey Badger, appreciate you hanging out. They may be censoring me. I don't know. Who knows? I don't really care. But I appreciate you hanging out, Honey Badger. We'll catch you here in a little bit. I'll be back live again shortly. So, yeah. All right, YouTubers, be a good person. In a world full of shitty people, don't be one of those people. Be a good person. Peace, bitches.